Hello and welcome to the SimRacingMania HYPERCAR World Series 2021 Round 4 here at the Adelaide Grand Prix Circuit. The Adelaide Grand Prix Circuit, as it's well known, set around the streets of Adelaide, South Australia, was once a host to Formula 1 back in the 90s and the 80s, I believe. Nowadays hosts supercars, Australian Formula 3 and also Australian Formula 4 as well. Adelaide comprising of 16 turns and a grand total of, I think, around 4 kilometres of distance. This week's ballast has also come in as well. We're in the qualifying session as it stands. This week's ballast has come in. Liam Rance getting 15 kilos, 5 kilos and 10 kilos over the previous 3 rounds, ending up at 30 kilograms of added ballast. Paul Holt has got 10 and 10 at 20 kilos. Lorenzo de Curtis 5 and 15, 20 kilos. Thomas Golab at 5 kilos and Cliff van der Ven at 15 kilos. With the Adelaide Street Circuit, as it's also known, the first chicane is quite touchy, being quite the area to have a coming together. It's very tight. I'm just seeing if we can get a camera down there. Yes, we can. This chicane here, turn 1 and 2 on the run up to turn 3, very touchy for a chicane. As you can see, the entry is very tight going into it. Also meaning that the ability for cars to go too wide through the chicane, quite difficult, as the last thing you want is to have a coming together. There's not much runoff to the left, even less to the right of you. So it'll definitely be one to watch in the race. As with all of the other rounds in the SimRacingMania HYPERCAR World Series 2021, there is a manual rolling start. The apex of turn 3, which is currently the closest bit of the corner just ahead of your camera, is where cars will be released onto the track and then be allowed to go racing. Cars will line up at single file and then work their way around the track for this 75-minute race. The championship standings, as it currently is: Liam Rance of Satellite Racing is in first, followed by Paul Holt for Fair Racing Team. Lorenzo de Curtis in third, also for Satellite Racing. Antti Rassi, the first team footer driver, in fourth at 78 points. Thomas Golab at 75. Dennis van der Ven takes 6th at 70. Richie Tappel takes 7th at 61. Stin Fissen takes 8th at 59 points. Cliff van der Ven 9th at 53 points. Tied with Christoph Rasinski at 53 points. Jos van der Sterren 49 points. Francesco Bernardi 48. Dino Faldetta 44. Arcturus Kamal 41, Peter Lane at 40, Michael Brooks at 38, tied with Manuel Pasella at 38, also Valerio Margarito, who you're currently seeing on track as it currently stands with the stream. Riccardo Morelli takes 19th at 36, along with Lorenzo Catalini, both drivers at 36. Rinaldi Edo and Giacomo Lapadula are both at 34, P21 and 22. Giacomo Attore, Richard Brooks in 23rd, tied with 32 points. Giuseppe Pastore in 25th at 31. Nicola Pastore in 26th at 29 points. Jack Gordemania in 27th at 28. Ezra Arick in 28th with 26 points. Stefano Donadal 29th with 25 points. Mario Salvia 24 points. Ati Safia 23 points. Ikta Ahmed 22 points. Luke Holland 19 points. Antelio Mastro 18. Rio Lajo 14, Yuda Prasanta 12, and Antonelio Mastro 11. And then drivers who have not scored points or have not finished a race so far. One of these looks wrong because I see a Paul Holt in there. I've already been over his Paul Holt, so I'm just going to disregard those for now. Let's see if we can grab someone who's just starting a new lap. There you go. We'll take Jos van der Sterren. We'll sit on board for a lap with Jos van der Sterren. He's currently on the out lap. You can just see how tight some sections of the Adelaide Street Circuit are. The last thing you want to be doing is making silly moves. These cars having quite a lot of downforce. At least from the look of them, they have put on some very good battles, but they have proven to be a little bit twitchy for some drivers. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the cars run as we have 8 minutes 45 seconds remaining in qualifying. Here we go, coming round to the final corner. Now he's on the run down to the first chicane. Switches to the left, goes over, curb, curve. Centre chicane done. Now he's on the run up to Wakefield, turn 4. Turn 4 taken, now turn 5. There's quite a bit of runoff here as well. A bit of a escape road with a curb in the middle. Turn 6 and 7 now. Turn 7 onto the long back straight with turn 8, which is there. Also turn 9 to go onto the Brabham Straits just up ahead. Here we go, going through the Brabham Straits. You can hear Jos van der Sterren lifting as he heads through on the brakes now to go through the Deckerville hairpin. Then through racecourse. Turn 12, turn 13 now with the Nissan sponsorship and the tyre barrier. A little bit of runoff there as he goes through turn 14. Turn 15 now on the run to the Mistral hairpin. Also at the pit entry, round he goes. Hardest thing with that corner when I've driven this in other cars is not to get the back out at all. Across the line, Jos van der Sterren slips into provisional second with a 1:11.5. Is he going to stick out for another lap? A possibility. We're going to stick with Jos van der Sterren. Now he runs on to the Brabham Straight. One of the Van der Vins has gone into second place now at 0.052 off of Giacomo Attora's time of a 1:10.9, currently the time to beat. Yeah, I don't have a second computer with me today, so there might not be as much overlay work happening. I apologise for this. And then across the line is Van der Sterren going to improve on his time. Not sure. So here we are now for another lap over the curbs. You can see how much curb Jos van der Sterren is taking. I also believe they put it on private qualifying as well for this round, just due to where you can see how tight the track is. Jos van der Sterren, 0.074 off in Sector 1 as he heads back onto the Brabham Straight. A lap time here being in the 1:10s to about the 1:13s for some drivers. Very quick lap time. As you can see, the back getting out a bit there just from the hood, the roof view that we do get around the Mistral chicane. Sorry, the Deckerville Champagne. I can't actually pronounce it, so I'm not going to try anymore. And then goes off at turn 13. There you go, Jack Mania. Let's see how Jack Mania goes about it with a 1:10.991 to beat. Most drivers setting up. Your top three as it currently stands is Attore, Van der Ven and Van Ark, with Van der Sterren in 4th, Catalini 5th, Holt 6th, Capel 7th, Lapierre 8th, Gordemania 9th, Sella 10th, Fisson 11th, Faldetta 12th, Salvia 13th, Mastro 14th, and Brooks 15th. Also Brooks in 23rd, as my tower has just been very lovingly to say. view my tower. Also remember, follow, do all that good stuff. Replay available on my YouTube channel pretty much within 6 hours after the race ends. It will also be available to watch on Twitch until the video goes up, in which then it automatically gets unlisted from Twitch. I know technology mental. So Jack Almania going through the centre chicane, turns 1, 2 and 3. Now on the run to Wakefield at turn 4. Quite a high raised curve. Well, actually, raised curves pretty much everywhere around this track. When I was driving, it was in a downforce car. More downforce car than this. I was driving it in a Formula 3 car. And yeah, trying to take as much curve as possible without destroying the car was very difficult. So it's definitely one for the drivers, I think. It's going to be an interesting track. We've been at actual racetracks for the previous 3 rounds. Chang last time out, which definitely a race to remember. Quite a few issues as GoLab goes into provisional pole with 110.745, pushing a Torre off of the top spot. Or as Gordamania gets the rear out. That's not going to be the one. I don't think that's going to be the lap that he would have wanted then. Definitely not what he's going to want it to happen. As now we are with Thomas GoLab as he stopped. So now with Cliff Van der Ven, 0.466 in the first sector, 0.222 faster in the second sector. Let's see how he comes across the line here. Across the line, go second with a 110.933. GoLab now back out on track. We're going to stick with him for his flying lap here, as now he's just out on his out lap. Every driver has currently set a time. Van der Ven in 23rd with the slowest time, as we see GoLab almost going to collect himself at the outside of Wakefield. Taking quite a lot of track limits on the outside there, GoLab. It's a bit interesting. Also, for people who are unsure, we have, I think, 2 Van der Vens and 2 Brooks on here today. I might mix them up quite a lot. Just be aware that I do use second name basis for the majority of drivers, as it's just quicker for me to say the second name instead of the full first name. Here we go, Thomas GoLab now on the run to the Mistral chicane through turn 15, now turn 16. You can see there is literally a company called Fuchs on the inside there. Yeah, I'm pronouncing it correctly, I'm not using it for a cheap joke. So here we go now, on towards the centre chicane with Thomas GoLab. Currently in provisional pole, but only 0.18 off of Van der Ven. So Van der Ven has a very small distance to make up to overtake Thomas GoLab. GoLab is going to be very aggressive, I believe, just to try and get the extra tenths out, which he is. First sector, 1.1 off of the sector best as he heads onto the Brabham chicane. I just completely lost my train of thought there for a moment, and now on the run to this apparently hairpin. It's not really a hairpin. Through race course now, turn 13 and turn 14. Under the Farmers Union iced coffee as the session has come to a close. We'll see if Thomas GoLab manages to get a faster lap here. He won't have the ability to go over one more, as he's gone 1.5 tenths faster as he crosses the line, sets a new personal best of a 110.433. We're now just waiting for the rest of the cars to come around, with Anti-Ressi currently in 8th with a 111.6. And across the line, he does improve a 111.5, moves himself up to P6. I'm not sure if there's anyone else out on track. Currently stands. It does not look like it. So that will be the end of the qualifying session. Now just going to wait for the server to switch over. We've had some stability issues in the past few races, but the majority of these do seem to have fixed now, as we're now in the session. Real world weather is utilised as well. The server does update the A110 Alpine Series that runs alongside, also hosted by SimRacingMania, had a wet race. That's not a series that I commentate, as we see one of the Brooks have a bit of a crash there. However, yes, the A110 race a couple of weeks back, it went to wet. From what I hear, the drivers made a very good go of it, and there weren't actually issues in the wet race. We've not had that yet with the hypercars. Australia, as you know, the country that never rains. Number 94 in the chat. Who's number 94? Because I don't have the numbers on my tower. So cars are now coming out onto the circuit. I'm going to watch them come through out the pits, and while we are watching for that, here is the starting order for today's race. So starting in pole is Thomas Golab, second place Cliff van der Vin, third Michael Brooks, fourth, and Giacomo Attore. In fifth is Pim van Ark, sixth Antti Rassi, seventh Jos van der Sterren, and eighth is Lorenzo Catalini. Ninth place is Paul Holt, followed by Richie Tappel in 10th, Giuseppe Lapatiera in 11th, and Jack Goldemania in 12th. Number 12 starting in 12th. 13th is Manuel Pasella, 14th is Jin Fissen, 15th Dino Fordetta, and 16th Dennis van der Vin. 17th then is Mario Salvia, 18th Antonello Mastro, 19th Richard Brooks, and 20th is Christoph Rosinski. 21st is Valerio Margarito, and 22nd is Francesco Bernardi. That makes up your starting order for today's race. Let's sit with Lorenzo Catalini here for a couple of laps. You can see the sun has gone down a little bit. 7.5 minutes left in the session, more or less, to get into the groove, get ready. Some drivers might be thinking, as you see someone go off ahead there. Some drivers may be feeling the track, may even be trying to leave behind people to try and get an idea of what it's like to follow here. The Brabham Straight, of course, the longest straight on the circuit, the Brabham Straight, and also the back straight being very good overtaking opportunities. Most of Sector 1 would be quite ambitious to overtake in, a lot of the turns being square left and right handers. However, it will be possible. By the looks of things, it's just going to depend on where you try and place the car. Now Capellini comes through the Mistral chicane. And comes along to start his lap. How much curbs Capellini take? Not as much of the first as some people, a lot on the second. And then doesn't take any curve on the third as he comes into Wakefield. Getting the back out, you can see the lights on around the circuit. This series so far having had quite a few great battles happening up and down the grid. Quite a few heartbreaks as well have occurred in the first 2 rounds. Kielami and Thailand, we had Liam Rance win at Kielami. No, we didn't. Sorry, we had Lorenzo Curtis win at Kielami and Cliff van der Vin win at Thailand. Sorry, I just completely and utterly lost what I was doing there. Race 2, sadly, as we know, with how R-Factor 2 is, it didn't go long, as now we switch to the number 33 machine. That's driven by Jin Fisson. Number 33, oh, it even says his name on the side of the car. Oh, that sun effect is really making R-Factor 2 a bit unhappy here, as we see Jos van der Sterren heading into the pit lane. Drivers will have to make one pit stop, as whoever that is coming out the pit lane almost got a punt and a half. One pit stop, different strategies will probably be used by different drivers today. Some might be starting on softer tyres, some might even be going on to harder tyres now. As we're with Lorenzo Catalini on the back of the number 12 machine. That is, I'm not 100% sure actually, P14 Jack Goldemania. In just one of the base liveries. Now Emmanuel Pasella, who's chasing on the back of Dino Faldetta. It's pretty easy to know who Dino Faldetta is, having the bright pink camo livery. As Jim Fisson has a little bit of an unhappy turn at turn 6 onto the Brabham Straight there. As Jim Fisson heads into the pit lane, back with Dino Faldetta on the back of Valerio Margarito. Well, Factor 2 really wants to look at Shin Fisson there. You can just see how much speed these cars are taking through the center chicane. As Valerio Margarito goes completely off the circuit there at turn 4 at Wakefield. Still with Dino Faldetta chasing the back of the driver in front. On 21st, Krzysztof Rosinski. Who moves over due to blue flag, so good move there from Rosinski to move over for the blue flag, leaving in the warm-up session. Now with Giacomo Torre for Pressa Dioretta. Oh, as Giacomo Torre clips the end of the Nissan barrier at the end of turn 13, dips the front into the wall and then comes into the pits. A lot of downforce there on the move. As now we're with Cliff van der Vin, who's going slowly, I think maybe to let blue flag cars pass. As Krzysztof Rosinski almost collects him. There's a car stopped on the inside as well. There's a bit of a battle there between Cliff van der Vin and Krzysztof Rosinski for ownership of turn 4. Just see how planted the cars are through turn 9, now through to turn 10. Turn 11, the cars are very good at changing directions with how the drivers have set them up for here. It seems getting as close to the wall on the outside of turn 13 as he can. You don't want to get into the wall early, however, as Cliff van der Ven takes a late pit lane entry. Now with Mario Salvia. Session now comes to an end. We see Mario Salvia having a little bit of an argument with the Armorall sponsorship on the entrance to the pit lane. I was now just having to get ready. Race 2 begin. I was possibly out on track still. As we're just going to have a good look at the very wide angle FOV. Oh, thank you again. As we now look over the circuit. All the cars starting to line up on the grid. Remember, the exit of turn 3 is where the cars will be released out onto the circuit. Few cars still left to come out onto the track. Thomas Golab. And drivers are away, single file up until the exit of the centre chicane. And the drivers are away with about 3 FPS from R factor 2. A little gap having already formed as now we see the drivers all escaping towards the Adelaide Street Circuit for the start of round 4 for the SimRacingMania HYPERCAR World Series 2021. As there is a crash. I think that's at turn 4. It is at turn 4. I see Dino Faldetta caught up in that. Krzysztof Rosinski caught up in that. I also see Shin Fissen caught up in it as well. Is Dino Faldetta going to be able to get going? I'm not sure, as now the camera switches to Krzysztof Rosinski, so clearly not caught up in that collision. My mistake. It was, the driver in front of Rosinski. I think that's Pinter. Takes a bit of a wall outside of turn 9. That might have damaged the suspension here as Rosinski is looking into turn 13. Maybe an attempt into the Mistral chicane is in order. Maybe a move down towards the centre chicane. Maybe not into the centre chicane, however, with how tight these cars are. As Krzysztof Rosinski clips a wheel in the grass, gets sideways, goes over, almost collects the rear of Pinter. I think there might have been a bit of contact there, but Pinter getting away unscathed. Rosinski gaining time here as now they run up towards turn 4 together. Is he going to have an attempt? We're not sure, as now we switch to Mario Salvia. As Margarito moves up into 15, Mario Salvia on the rear of Brooks now taking 19th. Rosinski goes off at turn 4. I think some drivers might be overestimating their braking zones a little bit. It's lucky that there is a lot of escape road on this circuit. It's all over the curb. Both Brooks and Salvia getting the cars a little bit unhappy as they take it over the curb. Maybe a bit too low as they head up onto the Brabham Straits towards turn 9. Through turn 9, both drivers keeping it out of the wall, it seems. Some damage, it looks like, on the front of Brooks' car already. I think that's Richard Brooks. I could be wrong. As Cliff van der Ven sets the fastest lap of the session with a 112.624. Now battle for P2. Michael Brooks against Cliff van der Veen, with Thomas Golab in the lead. You can see him there escaping ahead as Cliff van der Veen is trying to catch up. Michael Brooks in the back as well, also having to look out for Ettore and also Van Ark as well. The drivers taking as much of a wide line as they can. Some drivers preferring to go over the curb, some drivers preferring to go onto it, some drivers preferring to avoid it at all costs. Some drivers as well choosing to have the lights on while some are not. We now switch to Giacomo Ettore chasing the rear of Brooks. Here Giacomo Ettore, the number 16 car. As they head into race course and turn 14. Drivers getting it very close to the outside wall at the edge of turn 14 there. They now head through 15 and into 16, the Mistral hairpin. Now back on the run as Thomas Golab sets a new fast lap on the set of the session of 1:11.6. And now with Lorenzo Catalini. As they all bump over the curb. That's the camera angle that RF2 is not having a great deal with. Capellini on the back of Antirassi. Remember as well, for people watching, the series does not have a drop round, so drivers who have missed today's race might be at a disadvantage for future races. Some drivers maybe not preferring to race on the street circuit. I do understand the struggles and the little annoyances that do come with street circuits. Everything's a lot tighter, the road isn't as smooth, so I'm not sure who that is having a bit of a spin. We're now with Francesco Bernardi on the back of Margarito. This is 4:15. Half a second separating the two drivers as they head through turn 9. Oh, Bernardi, I think, collecting the wall on the outside of turn 9. Trying around the outside, not managing it. Getting a bit of contact on the rear of Margarito. Oh, and then getting onto the Coates higher curb at the edge of race course as well. That slowed him down quite a bit. 1.6 seconds now as he's opened up the gap to Lapatiera behind. As Antonio Mastro has headed into the pits. He's currently in the pit stop. I'll see if I can keep up with how long that takes. Now with Manuel Pasella. P11, the other Van der Veen ahead of Gordemania behind. That will be Dennis Van der Veen. Now on to the Brabham Straits. 3 cars, Gordemania, Van der Veen and Pasella. With Pasella in the middle. Oh, look at them just go through turn 9. Now with Cliff Van der Veen. As we are back with Manuel Pasella. Racing on the rear of Dennis Van der Veen still. Through turn 4 there as now they head up. Bit of a lock up there from Manuel Pasella into turn 4, into Wakefield. Through turn 5 and then turn 6 as well. Track map must be wrong because it says turn 9's. Oh no, I realise why. There's turn 8. Literally, this little kink there is turn 8. As now we're with Pim Van Ark on the rear of Giacomo Ettore. Two very quick drivers as they head through turn 16, the final corner. Now back onto the run, onto the centre chicane. Chicane, 75 minutes. We started with 1 hour and 8 minutes left to go. As Ettore goes wide into turn 4, this has put Pim van Ark right on the rear of him. As they head through turn 6, then turn 7, going as wide as they possibly can to avoid the wall. Giacomo Ettore taking the curb now as we're with Mario Salvia. With P19, he has Brooks behind and Brooks ahead and Fisson behind as they head through the centre chicane. Fisson almost having a look into the first part of the chicane as they now run up towards Wakefield. Rulas Gomez as well, having just dropped out of the race. You can see some damage on the front of Mario Salvia's car. I think he might have been one of the drivers caught up in the lap 1, turn 4 incident as Brooks collects the outside wall at the edge of turn 6. That might be bad. Mastro already 2 laps down. However, having taken his pit stop, he could even be trying to go very long. As I think Salvia just avoids keeping the right side of his car out the wall. Shin Fisson having a look down the inside. Salvia almost going for a very late defence. Loses out on the position to Shin Fisson. Fisson now gaining 19th. Now he's being unleashed on the back of Brooks. As now with Jos van der Sterren, one of the drivers who I think has lost positions so far. I might be wrong. He might even have just stayed where he is. He is going to be under attack from Antti Rassi. Now they head through turn 9. We've seen drivers getting it very close to the wall. We've also seen some drivers trying to just keep it out a bit. Jos van der Sterren has Paul Holt ahead and Rassi behind, as that is Shin Fisson having gone off. Let's try and see what happened to Shin Fisson. Yeah, so you can see he went for the move on Michael Brooks into Wakefield. He had the inside. They do come together. However, he did get ahead. What happened? Oh, he just misjudged it and ended up in the Holden barrier. Both Michael Brooks and also Salvia getting ahead now as Salvia's attacking Michael Brooks. Just ahead, almost a move around the outside into racecourse. Michael Brooks staying ahead though. Shin Fisson also back in the mix against the two. As they now run up to turn 16. Hello, Anne. I'm doing pretty well. Adelaide, it's a track I've always liked. In cars that really don't seem like they should be here, but they've put on a very interesting race so far. They now head through. I think Salvia's gone round. Salvia has gone round into the centre chicane. Moves off of the circuit. I think that might be Mastro. I'm not sure. Apparently P20, so clearly not Mastro then. As now we're back with Jos van der Sterren. Rassi has gained the position against van der Sterren. Brooks also in the background. One of the other team through to drivers. Pronunciation on point. Your leader is still Thomas Golab, followed by Van der Ven, then Ettore. Van Ark in P4 as well. Catalini 5th and Holt 6th. Rassi 7th. Van der Sterren 8th. Brooks 9th and Van der Ven 10th. That is your top 10 so far with an hour and 4 minutes left on the clock. Only had 10 minutes so far, more or less. And it has been a really exciting race. Street circuits definitely breed exciting racing. With how tight they are very much a challenge for drivers. Normally they're a challenge in slower cars. Then you bring, hypercars to the mix as well with the downforce and all the mechanical grip that they get. They're able to throw the cars around the corners, it seems, which is what the drivers have been doing now. So with Van Ark on the rear of Ettore as they run through turn 16. Oh, I can just see how much curb they're taking. I'm not sure why there's a lag spike through that. It's only that corner where there's a bit of a lag spike. I'm not sure why. As Paul Holt has moved up into 5th. Van der Sterren's dropped down to 8th. maybe an issue for Capellini. Might just be some timing tower troubles. As Margarito's headed into the pit lane as well. He's in the box 4:54 seconds, so he'll be released soon. Now we have Michael Brooks facing the rear of Jos van der Sterren. I think it's Michael Brooks. Yeah, it is Michael Brooks. I just read it. With Lorenzo Catalini ahead. Margarito, I think, having some damage. He's been in the pit box 1 minute and 10 seconds. Seems a bit slow for a pit stop just for tyres. Maybe fuel, maybe damage. I'm gonna think there might be damage, however, with 1 hour and 2 minutes left. Already see that drivers have, I think most of the drivers have got at least a little bit of damage, albeit minor. Drivers always racing each other as hard as they can. Street circuits being very good for battles. You have to really pick your moments. Unum's now heading across the start-finish line once more as we switch to Paul Holt for Fair Racing Team, the number 81 car. He has about 6 seconds between himself and Van Aert. Antirassi on the rear of Paul Holt, getting very close to that inside wall. As we get the view from the rear wing of Paul Holt's car to see how much Antirassi is being able to throw the car around. As here is Richie Tapple, the other Fair Racing Team driver. As now we're with Cliff van der Ven on the rear of Thomas Golab. This will be the battle for the lead once they start getting into it. The gap only being 7 tenths, 7.5 tenths around there. As they now head on to the Brabham Straight. Now stick on this rear wing camera. We're going to have a look at just how close to the wall Van der Ven gets as they head through. Van der Ven getting very close to the wall on the outside there. They run up to turn 10. There's a Dino Fordetta in the mix as well. Not the best of places to come across a Dino Fordetta there for Van der Ven. Fordetta moving over as soon as he could out of turn 13. Across the line, Salvia also having sadly dropped out of the race. Van der Ven now 1 second behind Thomas Golab. An hour left on the race clock. With Van der Ven having taken the win at the last race, is he going to be able to get past Thomas Golab? He has an hour left. He also has the pit stop left as well. But may be possible as they head onto the Brabham Straight now, through turn 9. Van der Ven going very close to that wall. Now into turn 10. Then into the race. Holt's higher curb on the inside there as well. Very, very deadly it seemed already this race. Cars, a lot of the curbs, on this track are raised. Which with these cars that run very low to the ground, you can already envision the fact that they'll be quite unhappy to go over curves. I mean, you can sort of throw them across curbs and you can sort of hit curves as well. But that Coates high curve is very, very raised on the inside. Half a second now separating the two drivers. Or, as Thomas Golab loses the rear, stays ahead, Cliff van der Ven slowing down as well. You can already see lap traffic up ahead. What happened to Thomas Golab? As we get the view, he just lost the rear. He caught the slide though. Michael Brooks picking up a penalty in the meantime, as now we're back live with the battle. Still just under half a second separating the two drivers. As they're now going nose to bumper on the run to the centre chicane. I think I saw there as well Michael Brooks. Not Michael Brooks, sorry, one of the Brooks. I think it's Richard Brooks has dropped out of the race. Michael Brooks having picked up a penalty. There is Ace Jin Thyssen in the background as well, moving over very nice into the into turn 4, not neutralising the battle between Golab and Van der Ven whatsoever, which is always a good thing if you can come across lap traffic at either a straight or a turn where they can move over without even destroying their race. The gap now 6/10. Lights are being flashed for Lapatiera ahead. Lapatiera moving around onto the start finish straight, maybe a bit late. I think it's what Thomas Golab must be thinking. Both drivers are now through. I don't think a big advantage has been gained by Van der Ven, who is around 7/10 behind, but that gap does seem to fall quite a lot through Sector 1. As your commentator needs to take a drink. Jin Thyssen also having gone into the pit lane, maybe some damage. And now on the run to turn 10. That could be that's Santelio Mastro who's moved over. Now we're with Francesco Bernardi, who has Richie Tappel behind. You can see gap around a second, I believe. Second and a half, yeah. Some damage already on that Fair Racing Team car. Here's Michael Brooks. He's chasing down the rear end of Jos van der Ster in a 6-second gap. With Van der Ven in the background, however, there's quite a distance between the two drivers. As now we switch back to Thomas Golab versus Van der Ven. Thomas Golab now having to defend the insides and the apex is a lot harder. As they run down to the centre chicane, a yellow flag in sector 3. Cleared quickly though, so whatever it was, it could have just been someone going off and having a bit of a spin. Has cleared very quickly, however. And now run up to turn 5. The gap having extended once more between the two drivers. You can see Van der Ven just in the background there in the white and red McLaren. Keeping it very close and very tight to Thomas Golab. Now with Andy Rassi on Paul Holt. Oh, Anti-Rassi, I think, maybe getting a bit of a scrape on the wall there, just on the outside of turn 9. The gap being 7 tenths between the two drivers. Now we get the gaps to next. Around the circuit, half a second, 6 tenths separating the two drivers, Anti-Rassi and Paul Holt. Thomas Golub still leads, but Van der Veen is very much bearing down on the rear. Gaps already looking to have formed, however, drivers are in pairs of 2 almost, it seems, especially up towards the front and the mid of the grid. .52 minutes remaining as they head back onto the Brabham Straits. That's a Dino Fraudetta as well, who's moved over at a perfect opportunity for Paul Holt and Anti-Rassi right on the Brabham Straight. Beautiful place to move over. Now with Francesco Bernardi, who has lost 12 to Richie Tapple at this current minute in time. I think the gap might be extending with in the background is Jim Fisson. He's not raising the track position. Oh, as Bernardi absolutely collects the wall on the outside of turn 9. Right round he goes. That will be probably quite a long form yellow flag. You see the race leaders coming through. What happened to Bernardi? And see, he hits the corner. Oh, he hits the inside wall. That's it. That sends the car around. Collects it into the barrier. And the rest of that, we know how it goes. That is unlucky for Francesco Bernardi. Hitting the inside wall. As is that a Thomas Golab round as well. What's happened to Golab? We're gonna see, as we just rewind the tape a little bit, heading through the race, gets the back out again into turn 13, goes round, goes forward, and then gets collected by, I think, that was Van Ark, maybe. I'm not sure. Oh, Thomas Golab there dropping out of the race from the race lead. That's not one he's going to have wanted to happen. Promoting Van der Veen into the lead, and also with a 15-second gap between himself and Ettore. Thomas Golab having held the lead for the entire race up until that point. And just posted into the chat from Thomas Golab, just as an update for people who want to know what happened. He's gone into neutral 3 times. Which were what the cause of the spins were. So, an unlucky turn of events for Thomas Golab there. Clearly not one that he's going to have wanted, but yeah, sadly, just sometimes happens, as now with Michael Brooks, who got a bit of a bump on the inside there from I think that's Capellini, yeah, and then picking up a penalty as well. So not really the best of ideas for Michael Brooks there. getting past and then getting a penalty. We are now with Paul Holt. Is that a Pim Van Ark? That is a Pim Van Ark, having gone off at turn 16. Wonder if we can get a replay on what happened there. Yes, we can. A bit of lag. As that Lorenzo Catalini grabs the penalty for himself as well. Oh, just gets it onto the grass, and yeah, that's it. Couldn't get the car slowed down enough. Almost made it onto the escape road, and then no, but Pim Van Ark getting back onto the track cleanly, which is always good. Antti Rassi now chasing Paul Holt. Paul Holt being up in third place. I'm just collecting my camera views again. Yellow flag in sector 1. Capellini dropping into the pit lane. I think that was just for a drive for 11.2 seconds without a stop. So yeah, I expect that was for a drive for Capellini going in 10th and coming back out in 10th as well. The Antti Rassi. Very close there. I'm not sure who that is ahead. They do drop round though. It's 12th place, so that's Rosinski. Now we're watching as Paul Holt and Antti Rassi run down to the centre chicane. Over first curve, over second curve. Are any of them going to touch a third curve? No, Paul Holt going a bit wide through turn 3. Antti Rassi very close now to the rear of the Fair Racing Team vehicle of Holt. As that Brooks has also come into the pit lane. Again, looks like for a drive-through penalty. Yep, 10 seconds exactly on the dot for a drive-through. So, very good slowdown skill there from Michael Brooks to come through. As keep in mind as well, while there's a little bit of a lull, you can follow me on social media. My Twitter is @thathusky. Also, remember to follow the Twitch channel and the YouTube channel. Replays uploaded to the YouTube channel within 6 hours of the race being conducted. They are available on Twitch up until the point where they are moved over onto YouTube. So just keep that in mind. If you come back the next day and they're not here, they will be over on my YouTube channel @thathusky. As Lorenzo Capellini drops out, I wonder if we can get a view of what happened. Here is Lorenzo Capellini for Blue Bolt Racing. Driver who's been up on the grid. Another story of a driver who collected the wall at turn 9. Not as heavy as Salvia a little while ago, but sorry, not Salvia. Bernardi there actually having come into the pit lane, got the car basically rebuilt and then is back out in 17th. So honestly, with that crash that Bernardi had earlier, which took the rear wing off as well as most of the aero elements as well, having then to limp the car around with a Thomas Golo incident in the middle as well, definitely one that I'm pleased that he's come back out on track and kept it going. Definitely a hard thing to do, especially at a street circuit where once you get damage it becomes a lot harder, as now we're back with Antti Rassi chasing on to the rear of Paul Holt. You also see in the background Pim Van Ark in the background in that cyan black and white car. There are a little bit of a gap separating the two drivers as Giacomo Torre comes into pits as well as Rosinski. Tappel has also dropped out of the race. What happened to Tappel? Is it the same story that we're used to? I'm not sure as he heads into turn 10, sorry. Sounds like he's run out of fuel, so bad news there for Tapple, who has run out of fuel. Paul Holt now in second place. Van der Ven in first. Antti Rassi third. With Van Aert following in the back. I think that was a lock-up there from Holt. They now head through the centre chicane. Rassi being very close to Paul Holt. They head up into turn 4. Rassi on the outside. Holt on the inside. Holt defending the position now until they run into turn 5. Is Rassi going to be able to make it work? No, he's not. Rassi very close to the rear of Paul Holt. The more they battle as well, the closer Pim Van Aert will start to get, as Van der Sterren also drops into the pit lane. I kept up with that pretty well. Here we go now. 3 tenths between the two drivers. Rassi getting a lot closer to the wall, it seems, than what Paul Holt does. Holt defending the inside into turn 10. Getting the rear out a bit. Is Rassi going to poke up the inside? No, he's not. Maybe the outside into turn 11. No. Turn 12, the race. Also not overtaking there. Still around 3 tenths behind. Now 4 tenths. Maybe up to 5 tenths as they run up to turn 16. As Holt goes into the pit lane. Here is the current leader, Cliff Van der Ven, as now we are switching back to Antti Rassi, now under attack from Van Aert. There's also a Margarito in the mix as well as they head through the centre chicane. Margarito keeping to the outside, both drivers managing to get around pretty cleanly. Antti Rassi now defending the inside at turn 4 from Van Aert. Van Aert, however, getting very aggressive on the rear of Rassi's car. He's going to get very close. 4 tenths as they head onto the Brabham chicane. These cars getting a lot of speed through slipstreams. As Antti Rassi collects the wall at turn 9, ends up outside of the track. I think that might be Antti Rassi out of the running today. What happened to Rassi as he heads through? Same story as we've seen many times. You can see there, turned in just a bit too early. Head on with the wall. Actually manages to go through. And then out of the circuit onto the grass into someone's front garden. So that's Antti Rassi now dropped out of the race as well. Turn 9 has taken names today. A few drivers having turned in early, too early actually, collecting that railing on the inside. For the team's championship as well, I don't think this is something that Team Photo would have wanted either. Now with Maximilian Pinter, he heads across the start-finish line. We're now with Jack Gordemania on the rear of Giuseppe Lapatiera. 1 car ahead, I think that's Van der Ven just ahead as well in the golf-themed livery. Yes, it is. So Gordemania has to get past Van der Ven and then also catch up to Lapatiera. As Antonella Mastro heads into the pit lane now as well, so does Brooks. I think the final running Team HYPERCAR, actually. Because up the inside of Van der Ven goes Jack Gordemania at the final corner. What a time move there on Van der Ven. And have been now released on the rear of Lapatiera. As Maximilian Pinter is slowing down and heading into the pit lane. He was going slow. His teammate behind him in Francesco Bernardi. As now we're with Paul Holt on the rear of Van Ark. Wherever Van Ark may be. Van here, Van far, Van wherever you are. Oh, sorry, Van de Vin. I read that wrong. We have basically 38 minutes remaining on the clock. Mastro also picking up a penalty today. As Paul Holt moves up the inside of Van de Vin. Beautiful move there for Paul Holt, catching the opportunity at turn 10 now as we're with Michael Brooks. Through turn 9. Oh, I'm not sure who that was. I think it was P12. I think Rosinski catches the wall on the outside of turn 9. Turn 9 very much collecting names today. Maximilian Pinner here in the pit lane being released. For a 1 minute 0.5 pit stop. Very good pit stop there for Pinter. Still with Jack Laudermania, who is currently in 9th place. Chasing down Giuseppe Lapatiera, almost just under a second between the two. Half a second as they head through the final chicane. I think Laudermania may be getting the faster line through that chicane. Yeah, going from a second down to around half a second. Sorry, not through chicane, through the final corner as they head over the chicane. The run now, Van de Vin heading into the pit lane. Up now towards turn 7. Paul Holt making the move at turn 7. Lapierre being flashed by Paul Holt as well. Van de Vin, I think, coming into the pit lane. Yep, Van de Vin in the pit lane as well. Same with Van Ark. Van Ark having just entered, however. Here is Manuel Casella for Arctic Racing, chasing the rear of Krzysztof Rosinski. The gap between the two being 4 tenths at this current minute in time. That's a Bernardi behind as well, I believe. P15, yeah, that is a Bernardi. He's currently, I think, 2 laps down on the 2 cars ahead of him. As Pasella gets a bit of a lock up there through the inside. Now with Giacomo Ettore on the rear of Dennis van der Vin. Through turn 9, both drivers I think keeping it out of the wall there. Ettore getting very close as he has a peek into turn 10 but doesn't quite go for the move. As Van der Vin goes round. Ettore heads through, Van der Vin goes round. As Lapierre is off at the final corner as well. Here is Jos van Sterren. Here's Shin Fissen now chasing the rear of Jack Laudermania. Finfizzen getting the outside at turn 9. Jack Mania actually moving over as there's someone off at turn 9. I'm not sure who that is. Not Krzysztof Rosinski. I'm not 100% sure who that was. She is now with Giuseppe Lapierre. Who is chasing Jack Mania. 8.1 seconds. As now we're with Jack Mania, who is chasing Finfizzen, having moved over on the Brabham Straits. Here are the number of stops that drivers have taken. I think everyone but Van der Ven having taken pit stops in this race so far. Mastro having taken 4 today. Maybe not having the best of races from his own point of view. Now Manuel Pasella chasing Krzysztof Rosinski. You can see him just ahead. 8 tenths between the two drivers. 7 to 8 tenths between the two. Coming through 3 tenths now between the two drivers. Van Aert also chasing the back of Van der Ven. However, that gap has started to drop a little bit. Here it's running through now. Manuel Casella still chasing the rear of Krzysztof Rosinski. 30 minutes, 30 seconds remaining in today's race. Yellow flag in sector 2. I think that'll be where the Brabham chicane is. I think I might have had a bit of an issue at turn 9. I think today turn 9 has been the MVP and the ender of a lot of people's evening here. Even though it doesn't look it, it is a corner where, in some cars, I remember when I said earlier I was racing Formula 3's round here, it was a corner that you could more or less take flat. It was definitely a scary one to take flat, though I'm sure it's even more scary in these vehicles as well. There's now with Dennis van der Ven defending from Jos van der Sterren as well in the back. Van Ark ahead as well with Mastro just ahead of Van der Ven. Now we're with Manuel Pasella, who has just picked up a drive-through penalty, probably for track limits. I think really the only places you can abuse track limits are the final corner and the centre chicane, turns 1, 2 and 3. A lot of drivers taking a lot of curb over the second bit of the centre chicane. Finfizzen heading into the pit lane again for a second time as well. Well, just taking a drink there. Pasella having got past Jasinski as I was taking a drink. Mania also now in the pit lane. Here with 28 minutes left to go. On today's race, a yellow flag in Sector 2, but it gets cleared up very quickly. Van der Ven is your current leader, followed by Holt, then Ettore, then Van Ark, then Van der Ven, then Van der Sterren, then Brooks, Pinter, Pasella, Rosinski, Gordemania, Laftiera, Fisson, Margarito, and Bernardi, with Mastro, the last running car of today's race. Now with Jos van der Sterren, who is still chasing on the back of Van der Ven. Oh, getting very loose there over the centre chicane. That is a penalty for Jos van der Sterren. Let's get a look at how much he went over the chicane. Shall we? The track limits being like, yes, now. Here we go, over, hitting the curb, getting the back out. Not even a massive amount over the chicane. Now, Jos van der Sterren still with that penalty looming. That'll be why, because we've just missed live. Sorry about that. I forgot to press the stop replay button there. Michael Brooks moving up into 6th. Jos van der Sterren, a 10-second exactly. I think that's the fastest we've seen for someone getting a stop-go today. The radio showing of how quickly drivers can touch on the speed limiter. Michael Brooks now 3 seconds between himself and Dennis van der Ven. You can see Dennis van der Ven there in the front. He's just got Maximilian Pinter to get through, who will be, I think, blue flagged. It seems like that is the case before being able to get to Dennis van der Ven. Here as they come through the centre chicane. If there's anyone in chat, have a chat with me. What do we think about turn 9 today? As very nice move there from Maximilian Pinter to allow Michael Brooks through without actually slowing himself down too much in the process. Van der Ven also coming into the pits. That will be Dennis van der Ven. Michael Brooks up into 5th. Sorry, Dennis van der Ven has been passed as well as Jos van der Sterren by Michael Brooks. Michael Brooks now onto the rear of Van Ark. 14-second gap. Cliff van der Ven ahead with a 35-second gap as well. Keep in mind, Thomas Golab was running first place for the entirety of the race. Issues with a wheelbase and then ghost clicking, forcing him into neutral. Then a spin at this corner that Michael Brooks is going through just now. Very unfortunate way to retire from the race. So now we're with Jack Gordemania, 3 seconds between himself and Manuel Pasella. Just over the curbs goes Jack Mania. A lot of drivers being caught out by the track limits on the second bit. You obviously want to take as much of a straight line as you can. However, the track limits marshalling set by RF2 on this track mod have been very on the ball today. Get a yellow flag in sector 3. 22 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Now Giacomo Attore currently third place. 6-second gap between himself and Paul Holt up ahead, who's currently in second. Still time for him to catch up. As now we're still with Giacomo Attore. 20 minutes left on today's race. Manuel Pasella under attack from Jack Mania. We've just switched to Margarito also dropping out of today's race. Not sure what's happened to Margarito, but clearly something has happened. Obviously not a good day for a lot of drivers. I think the street circuit taking a few people by surprise. Not meant as in any form of a bad way. Sometimes street circuits can just throw unfortunate things out at you. Sometimes you just got to make sure that sometimes going slow around the street circuit is safer. But obviously racing, you want to be as quick as you possibly can. Now heading on to the Brabham Straits. Jack is still chasing the rear of Manuel Pasella. And also chasing the rear of Rosinski. 9/10 between the two drivers. I think we can see him just ahead. Now getting close to the wall. Yep, we can see Rosinski ahead. So it is 3 cars in a battle here. Gonna head the extended battle thing. Out of the 9th place, Golden Mania chasing the rear, 2/10, 4/10 now. Separating the two drivers as they head across the start of the straight. 18 minutes remaining on the clock. Around 13 more laps, 14, 15, up to 15 more laps left for our leader, Dennis van der Ven. For today's race, we're still with the battle for 9th place between Rosinski, Pasella and Gordemania. The number 01, 94 and 12 car in this situation. As over the curb goes Pasella. I don't think it's a track limits infringement with that curb. Oh, trying on the inside into turn 9 might be risky as they come together. Both drivers collected into the wall. They both keep going though. Maybe some damage. As Gordemania takes a move up the inside, Pasella even just turning into him. Now heading to turn 13. Gordemania on the outside, getting a bit of a squeeze onto the coast higher curb. Getting through. At turn 14, however. Now through turn 15. Getting a little bit of a laggy slowdown there. Rosinski and Pasella having come together at turn 9. I think Pasella may be having some more damage than Rosinski, getting the rear of the car out through the final corner. Still with the battle for 9th as they head through the centre chicane. One and a half seconds separating Rosinski from Gordemania. 1.1 separating Gordemania from Pasella. Now both cars within a second of each other, more or less, as they head onto the Brabham chicane. Close enough, I think, for Gordemania to grab some slipstream. Maybe not enough to try for a move at turn 9. Maybe enough to try for a move at the next corner, turn 10. We'll have to see. No, sticking behind for now. 7 tenths behind, as Pasella is also a second behind Gordemania when my thing pole, as they now head through turn 11 and 12. Still top 15 as it currently stands is Van der Ven, Holt, Attore, Van Aert, Brooks, Van der Sterren, Van der Ven, Pinter, Rosinski, Gordemania, Pasella, Lapierre, Thyssen, Bernardi and Mastro. Yes, still with battle for 9. Gordemania is chasing Rosinski. Pasella is chasing Gordemania. Probably a better way that I could have put that, but hey ho, as Pasella is getting very close to the rear of Gordemania there through turn 4. Jin Thyssen picking up a drive through as well, probably for track limits through the centre chicane, turns 1 through 3. Really at turn 2 where people pick up the track limit penalties. They're getting very close to the wall at turn 9. Pinsky, I think, going slow through turn 10 as they head through 11 and 12. Then 13. You're hanging in the 15, you can see the 2 cars behind him as Gordemania, I think, blips the downshift a bit early there and then gets the back out. That's opened him up to Pasella quite easily there as they head through the centre chicane, over the first curve, over the second. 14 minutes, 10 seconds remaining on the clock today. Now they head through turn 4. Now on the run to turn 5. Yellow flag as well in sector 1. Not sure what that is. Have to see. The grid looking pretty set for the minute. The battle for P8 still somewhat going on. 1 second separating Gordemania from Rosinski. 1.2 separating Pasella from Gordemania. Gordemania now. Battle for 9th place. It's been changed to half a second, 6/10 more or less. Separating Gordemania from Pasella as they head through turn 7 now on the run up towards turn 8. And through turn 8, now on the run up towards turn 9. Yeah, I don't get why that's turn 8 either, but according to the track map I have, it is. There's a hello, Clark. Now, is Pasella going to have a try into turn 10? No, stays behind for now. Maybe a good move, seeing as he is still 6/10 away from Gordemania. Rosinski dropping down to P11, so possibly an issue there for Rosinski that I missed. Well, I was replying to some Discord messages I had for Pasella now. Anywhere between 3/10 and 6/10 from Gordemania is going to get the slipstream down the start finish straight as they run up to the centre chicane. Not a great place to overtake because Gordemania takes a lot of sideways there, keeping it from track limits penalty, I think. Pasella taking it a bit more cleanly now. 4/10 between the two drivers as Gordemania goes round, hits the wall. Pasella collects him as well as he goes round. That's probably not one that he's going to have wanted. Sinski now actually being able to chase Gordemania. I think that's a Giacomo Attore in the mix as well. Yep, P3 as I just saw on the position display there. A good chance for Gordemania to move over. However, they're going 3 wide up the Brabham Straight. Rosinski also taking the opportunity to slip past as well. Oh, Gordemania losing out the position whilst being lapped. Rosinski taking the opportunity beautifully there to get past while Giacomo Attore goes past. Giacomo Attore now actually having gone off the track at the final corner. Now 2 wide towards the centre chicane with Rosinski. Rosinski gets loose, collects the wall. Gordemania slips through once more. Michael Brooks picking up a penalty as well. Michael Brooks currently in 5th. Richard Brooks sadly having retired quite a while ago. Here's Giuseppe Lapierre with Shin Thyssen chasing behind him. Just about Lapierre going off at turn 13. I think maybe having some issues with their car. Yeah, so here he is coming up to T10, locking the brake quite heavily. 8 minutes 45 seconds remaining on the real-time clock. Up in the corner, the tower being in real time, these being replaced. Collecting the coats higher. Curb on the outside, sort of sent him round and off. Now here's Pim Van Ark, 2.8 seconds between himself and Attore. I think, however, as it currently stands, Van der Ven, very commanding lead, almost at 50-second lead, in fact. I think it's going to be safe to say that Van der Ven might be walking away from this race today victorious. Attore having to keep the gap up 3-second gap between himself and Van Aert. Last thing he'll want is a drive through 4 track limits infringements at turn 2, which we've seen quite a few drivers fall foul of today. Now with Dennis van der Ven currently P7 on the rear of Michael Brooks, who's currently in P5. Moving over as well for Cliff van der Ven. The van der Ven's very good teamwork there. Here is your current race leader, Cliff van der Ven. Here is your current P12, Jan Fissen. Here is Giacomo Torre, currently still P3, having raised the gap now to 6 seconds. He's also got 6.5 seconds to make up between himself and Holt. Switch back to Dennis van der Ven. 5 minutes, 45 seconds remaining on the clock. Today's race has definitely been one of attrition for some drivers. As we are now just going to have a quick look at what happened to Antti Rassy. This was around 36 minutes into the race. You can see there, turn 9, he just went off, headed towards the inside, went a bit wrong. Here's Lorenzo Catalini having gone off as well at P13. Thomas Golab's retiree pulled off, crashed out at P12, and then caught up another driver in that collision too, so definitely not one. Here's apparently a off track from Dennis van der Ven. Let's see what happened. Took far too much speed into the first chicane there. Here is Antonio Mastro, P15 as it currently stands. Now with Krzysztof Rosinski, who's chasing Manuel Pasella. Apparently, nope. Jack Gordon-Mania having pulled out of the race as well. What happened to Gordon-Mania? I'm actually not sure what happened to Gordon-Mania there. Have 3 minutes remaining. Here's Paul Holt. 53 seconds now between himself and Cliff van der Ven. I think Cliff van der Ven, if he doesn't make any big mistakes, is going to be victorious in today's race. The biggest fear that he might have is Giacomo Attore behind, 4.3 seconds separating the two. Pim van Ark also around 4 seconds behind Giacomo Attore. Today's race has definitely been full of drama and full of surprises today. I think some drivers maybe will be cursing street circuits after this. We're going to just take a gander at the positions gained and lost for our top 15, top 14 as it currently stands now. Maximilian Pinter, the only driver to have not gained or lost. Michael Brooks, having started in third, now down to fifth. Lapierre 11th, down to 12th. The highest climbers today, Rosinski, who started in 20th and now up to 10th. Bernardi first, started in 22nd, up to 13, 9-point rise. Paul Holt started in 9th, now up to 2nd. Van der Ven started in 2nd, up to 1st. Other Van der Ven started in 16th, now up to 7th, so some quite high climbs for drivers today, as we now have a minute and basically just a minute now left on the clock. And now with Van der Ven, there will, by the look of it, be one more lap after this. So now on the run, 2 more times around through turn 13, then turn 14, now turn 15. For the second to last time across the start finish line comes Cliff Van der Ven. Cliff Van der Ven having lapped pretty much everyone apart from Van Ark, Attore and Holt. Definitely been a very commanding drive today. I mean, had a battle for almost the first half of the race with Thomas Golab, who then had a bit of an issue in turn 13 at about 25, 26 minutes in. Lapierre picking up a penalty as well. Lapierre up in 12th, so he'll be able to quite easily take that when he comes round. Granting that the race doesn't finish before he's there as the timer runs out. So now this is the final lap. As we see, Cliff Van der Ven coming through turn 9 for the final time, keeping it clean as he goes up the inside of Mastro. Mastro would be under blue flag there. Now through turn 10. And then race course. Final time through T13 and 14. And then around the final corner. And then with that, as he comes across the start-finish line to take the victory, it is Cliff Van der Ven has won today here in the SimRacingMania HYPERCAR World Series 2021 at Adelaide. He will be coming up onto the podium. Today, as now we see the rest of the drivers just crossing the line. Brooks heading into the pit lane on this final lap. Someone off in the background there going quite wide. Oh, that was a very, very entertaining race. So, coming through to take the win is Cliff Van der Ven, Paul Holt in second, Giacomo Attore third, Tim Van Ark for 5th is Michael Brooks. 6th, Jos van der Saren. 7th, Dennis van der Ven. 8th, Maximilian Pinter. 9th, Manuel Pizzella. 10th, Christoph Brzezinski. th goes to Shin Fissen. 12th, Giuseppe Lapierre. 13th, Francesco Bernardi. 14th, Jack Gordemania. 15th, Antonio Mastro. And then Valerio Margarito, Antti Rassi, Richie Tappel, Lorenzo Catalini, Thomas Golab, Richard Brooks, Mario Salvia, Pedro Crulas Gomez, and Dino Faldetta did not finish today's race. So, from me, I have been Husky. You have been watching the SimRacingMania HYPERCAR World Series 2021 Round 4 here at Adelaide. And no Zeffy in the chat, I am not playing, I am the commentator. I've been commentating this here race. So, from me, thank you for watching. I hope to see you all again. I think next week, when the next round is up, I will just quickly check this. Yes, so join me next week for the next round at Austin, Texas, for the SimRacingMania HYPERCAR World Series 2021 on the 16th, starting at 2040 UK time. I've been Husky, and goodbye.